this wonderful occasion of World Innovation Day, I have three innovators sitting on my left and right. Right. So I'll start with Among. Among is the founder of Orange Shark, co-founder at Orange Shark. Vamshi, the founder of True Voice. He's building something which will take on world giants. I'll get him to talk about it. Hopefully. And last but not least, I have Gautam from Quixie. So let's start with a quick 1 minute introduction of each one of you. Could you just tell the audience a little bit about what you're trying to build?
Good evening, everybody. I thank T-Hub for having me and for this wonderful opportunity. Actually, we have built is an alternative to, say, Google Dialogflow or IBM Watson. And many people told me before a few years, this is all done and dusted and there's nothing to do. But I told them if they can do, we can do much more efficiently. And AI is changing every day. And what is innovated 5 years before is not relevant today. So there is a lot of opportunity to create, and that's what we want to. We have done the product, and we are very confident about it. And that's in brief of what we have done.
Hello, everyone. I'm Among. I'm from Nagaland, but Hyderabad is home now. I've been here for a very long time. I've been living here for 20 years. I came here as a student and never left. So when I was at the University of Hyderabad working on my PhD, I along with a couple of friends came together and worked on an edtech company called Education for Free. We developed a product called the Virtual Classroom, and the idea was to teach kids in rural areas through a network of volunteer teachers. After that, I got into the e-com world. I started a company called greenscarf.com. The first of its kind, a single domain site where we sold exclusive women's fashion, contemporary fashion. I took a break in between raising two little humans, and in the year 2019 I founded InfluencerCon, which is the biggest influencer convention in the country, and it's part of India Joy Festival in Hyderabad. And the first year we had in the year 2019 over 60 top influencers and content creators came to Hyderabad to network and learn over 2 days and 2 nights. And my latest, which is Orange Shark, it's a talent acquisition platform. And we work with hundreds of freelance recruiters. In India, we have over 20,000 freelance recruiters, and each company has their own internal, talent acquisition team. But it's not possible for startups to have that, and it becomes incredibly difficult for startups to build their team. And that's where we come in, right? We're automating a process to a point where startups feel like they have their own internal team when they work with us. We are growing really quickly, and we have over 60 startups working with us now. We have a couple of unicorns as well. We even raised a small pre-seed round and from well-known angel investors. And yeah, that's about it at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. A quick introduction on Quixie is that we are a no-code platform. We help businesses build applications without writing code. Now, why is this important? On the theme of innovation, right? So this actually becomes a platform for innovation in every organization. So in today's world, the need of digitization is there everywhere. However, the skill set required is in huge shortage. So by providing a no-code platform, we are allowing people who have the business knowledge and the domain process understanding to be able to build digital solutions without writing a single line of code. So through that, we are able to scale the level of digitization in every organization and therefore across the world. So that's our global mission.
So first of all, what inspired you to take up this idea? When did you get that eureka moment saying, listen, I must build solution to solve this problem? And second is also tell the audience a little bit about what is unique about what you're doing.
Since my MBA days, I was just wondering, we have a McDonald's burger, they were selling bread here. And I was thinking, why can't we brand idli and sell there? There is so much uniqueness and so much we can do here. And what is that we can take out And just that then I figure out that they do marketing better, and they are more confident. They think that they have something to sell, and they innovate. And the primary dream is essentially to bring something from inside which is original and which is here, and take it out. But having said that, I'm not into franchisee business or a marketing business. What came naturally to me is AI, because I have been into statistics, and I've been working with corporate for many years in this field. So that is what comes to me naturally. So then we were working with few clients, and there is a pretty big gap. What we find when people want chatbots or voice bots, and they try to implement, it takes years. And even the hard-coded bots don't really deliver. I mean, they do very little, like collect a little bit of information here and there. So then we thought there is something we can do here, because we have been working in NLP and speech technologies, etc., and we have the capability. So we are. I am driven by the dream of taking something right from here globally, and it's a natural thing that we are in AI, because that is where I spent most of my years. So that is what is easily doable for me.
So do you foresee at some point AI taking over and humans becoming redundant?
AI taking over, I mean, every time we have something like when trucks came over, bullock carts went. So, but when IT came over, many jobs went. When AI comes, robots come and they take. But it's an adjustment. I don't think there will be a job loss per se, because whatever routine work we are doing, so we employ, say, 100 people in a contact center, and they are answering the regular queries, and the bot is answering all the regular queries. Then what can the contact centers do? They can upgrade. They can do. There is a lot of creativity. There is content creation, and there is more value adding activities which machines can't do. And my sense is AI, if you look at the human intelligence and AI is far behind human intelligence. Machines cannot ever compete with us for many reasons, because the machine is what we are creating, and what they can do is they can take a process, a repetitive process, and tirelessly they can solve it. They don't have any limitations, but that's about it. But instead of being people who are operating, we can operate the machines.
So you're saying basically anything which requires higher order cognitive thinking.
Yeah. We can upgrade to that level instead of doing the routine things like going to a factory and moving one piece to another piece and putting this there. The human workers can do better than that. They can actually innovate. They can work on some creative stuff, and right. So there's higher value adding activity we can migrate to.
Sure. Thanks. That's a great answer. Among, let's go to you and let's talk about Orange Shark, right? So you've been almost a serial entrepreneur.
Yes. For many
So
years.
what kind of triggered the idea of building Orange Shark, and what is so unique about what you're doing?
So we are three founders in the team, and it was my co-founder who came up with the idea actually. So he's from the hiring space. So he had come from Singapore to Hyderabad during the first lockdown, and he was helping a few friend startups to build a team, and that's when he saw the problem, and that's where the idea came, and he brought me and the other co-founder together. So the other question, what is unique about us? I think we trying to automate the entire process, right? And bringing all the players together under one platform. I think that distinguishes us from the rest. Well, there are so many players. I think we just want to step back, right? Everything will be done like from the freelance recruiter companies. They're going to interact with each other on the platform and to get things done. So I think automating the process is what sets us apart. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Gautam, no code has been an idea whose time has come, but when did you decide to,
So
what triggered the whole idea of building a no code platform?
a lot of frustration.
Okay. Tell us about it.
So we used to have a couple of products that were targeted for maritime and aviation industry, and but the products were never 100% fit when you move to the next customer. So we would go to the next customer, try to understand their requirements, go back and configure or customize the product as much as we could, and we thought that we understood the customer requirements very well. And then we would go back with the customer's solution back to the customer, and we all know what happens next, right? So the customer would be like, this is not what I want, and all the positivity goes away. The excitement of creating something new or that innovation goes away. It becomes contractual. It becomes, I said this is where it's written. And we felt that we used to put in our heart and blood, or sweat and blood into the code and build it and put all of that effort, and then we get looked at as somebody who's trying to cheat them or something like that, right? So it used to frustrate us a lot. The whole point of doing this business was to be able to delight the customers, but we were never able to achieve delight. At best, they were satisfied. So we tried to understand, when we looked at that problem, what's causing this. In spite of the best of our efforts, it's essentially two things. One, the amount of time it actually takes to build a solution. We lose the momentum. So the thoughts change, the people change, and sometimes even the processes change. But the second most important thing is the people who understand the process, the domain, or their problems, they do not necessarily have the skills to be able to build the solution, which is the most important problem, which is why they're relying on some other person who has the skills but probably does not understand the problem. And we thought that, okay, if we are able to create a platform, our goal is to achieve customer delight. If we are able to create a platform and allow people who understand the problem, they will be able to, in fact, build much higher quality solutions as against a professional developer. And that's how it all started.
So are you going to make developers redundant?
Higher purpose.
Higher purpose. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go back to you, Vamshi. So in terms of, obviously all entrepreneurs by design have to be innovative, right? By choice, by design.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
So how do you keep that whole culture of innovation, alive in your entity? How do you think about innovation, right? Do you build a roadmap, or how do you, for example, there's a young startup here, which is out, at idea stage and is now trying to figure out how to build something, right? If there are any secret sauce or secret mantras you want to share?
I'm not sure if it is secret, but the way we looked at the problem is people are taking, say, 6 months, 1 year, say 2 years to develop a bot, and then once they have to change it, then again they are struggling. So just define the problem, like, can we make a conversational bot, can be a virtual agent like which is on Alexa, or a smart speaker, can you make it in a week? Can you make it in 3-4 days? Now, people are spending a lot of time in data preparation, and then give an example. I think many of the people here can relate to it. Machine learning, you give examples and it recognizes something, then you again retrain it, recalibrate it. But then we said, can we automate data preparation? So the first point of innovation, I think, is defining your objective in very, very specific terms. And once you define in a very specific term, then I think the team gets organized towards that. And I would suggest, to all youngsters particularly, and all Indians or anywhere, anything can be achieved. You should believe in yourself. Most of the problems, for example, AI is something I am speaking here, but most of the NLP algorithms or speech algorithms are invented in 1920s and 40s by funded research in Stanford, etc., etc. And actually, that is what we are still using, because the computing power has enabled it to become commercial now. So, there are many things available outside openly by funded research, by universities, and a lot of technologies available. I think we just have to believe in ourselves, and we have to aim as high as possible. At least we'll end up somewhere.
No, I think some great comments by all of you in terms of all of the solutions you've built have come from experiential learning, right? It's a problem you've seen, the problem you've seen, And also, I think the point you made about leveraging the resources out there to build on something which helps solve quicker, faster, more efficient.
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of ecosystem, lot of technology available, a lot of math available for everybody.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's go back to you and we'll change the order a little bit just to keep it interesting. How do you, for both startups, we also have a few corporates in the audience, right? And in today's, we've had 2 Black Swan events in the last 2 years, right? Ukraine and then COVID, right? And obviously companies have had to completely transform about how they do business and this whole digital transformation and all of that. Any thoughts on how to keep it, how to keep the culture of innovation alive, both in startups as well as in corporates, based on your experience?
So I'll just give our experience on how. So we started selling Quixie in February 2020, end of February 2020. I think within a week or 2 we realized that COVID is here. So the way we had to think and realign ourselves was something. Maybe I should not use these words referring to COVID, but it was a great learning experience ourselves in terms of how we had to be agile, switch ourselves, because we had a very clear laid out plan in terms of how we were going to execute over the next 6 months to 9 months, and we had to change it within a week. And we were totally clueless in the beginning, but the process actually made us as an organization very agile and nimble in terms of that we started believing that nothing that we are looking at is going, we cannot take anything for granted. So anything beyond a month is a plan that is a plan, but we keep reviewing very frequently as against creating very long fixed plans. So we keep ourselves very agile in our minds as well, that we should be able to change anything at any point of time. That as a, it has become one of the core values of our organizations, speed and being agile. And that has helped us continue to evolve as the situation unfolded. So when the Ukraine war happened, it actually didn't make much of an impact for us. So I can only speak from our experience. So I felt that maybe that could be useful to us.
So to innovate, you have to be agile. That's
100%
summary what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we absolutely believe in empowering our team, right? We want them to have the ability to come up with solutions. We want them to, take initiatives, right? That's the kind of culture we're building, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who talk to our customers, right? The job seekers, the companies, the freelance recruiters, day in, day out, right? Do you know what the problem is? And so we tell them, like, imagine yourself as a part owner. What would you have done? For a particular problem. You don't have to come and tell us for every solution that the problem requires. So we constantly work on that, and we strongly believe that it's not top to bottom, it's bottom up. And we want them to tell us what we should do next, right? We want our team to tell us where we should go next. We want our customers to tell us where we should go next, because that's how our, the work.
I think some great points there about ownership. How ownership, innovation requires ownership, not just at senior levels, but across the company. Thank you.
To keep the culture of innovation, I think we have to, as Sri Jayesh was mentioning, we have to get out of lot of predefined mental notions, like certain education is required, certain so and so is required. We should try to identify the people. There are people who have different skill sets or attitudes or approaches. There is a small set of people who like to work on original things, who like to create something, and who feel good about doing something innovative. So when you get people inside the organization, it's very important to get that kind of attitude or that kind of predisposition, because rest of the skills can be trained easily. The most difficult thing is what motivates the other person. If the other person is motivated by innovation and creativity, that is the person you get inside. I think that solves majority of the issue for the startups. But when you grow into a large organization, definitely there are different challenges in large organization, because large organizations needs processes and people have to have compliance. But for startups, I think that should work. There may be many things, but that is what.
Sure. So essentially, you're saying hire for attitude. Don't worry about knowledge and skills. Those
Correct,
can be
correct. Yeah, not on the CV. Hire for the fitment, and whether they are happy doing this, and tell them clearly this is what we are doing, and we will only be happy when you really achieve something, solve a real problem.
Sure.
Not the time or not the process or something like that.
So I think I can see the time is an indicator there saying time up. We can go on because so many other aspects of innovation which I wanted to touch on. But thank you, Vamshi. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Among. And
Thank you so much.
thank you, everyone.